We'll answer this bad boy right here. Pretty good explanation. So would you wait and save for a 5 to 8 plex or save a bit longer for a 15 to 20 unit? Colin McHugh, thanks for asking the question, dude. This is, so obviously the more money that you have, the more options you have, right? You got more options when you have $50,000 of savings than when you have $10,000. You have more options at $500,000 of savings than at 50. And when you're at $2 million of savings, you have more options than, because you don't have to use the full $2 million in one deal, right? You can go do a little bit smaller deal. You can go do a bigger deal, right? So the more money that you have, the more options you have. I try to tell people all the time, like, I started with a 4 unit, right? And people are like, well, do you regret that? Do you wish you would have gone more doors? It's just how it worked for me. I don't really regret anything. And so what I would reply to Colin here, and there's also someone, a couple comments down that asked about house hacking, where they're saying, hey, I'm going to get a 5-bedroom house. I'm going to rent out, I think he was a college kid or something. I'm going to buy a 5-bedroom house. I'm going to rent out the other bedrooms. I'm going to get to live rent-free plus have cash flow coming in every month. Is that a good idea? And to me, it's like, you got to get your foot in the door. So when I'm sitting here saying more doors is better, don't let me discourage you from getting started and getting your foot in the door. The more doors is better is a great. It's idealistic, right? It's a great thing to shoot for. But you also don't want, if you're going to go do this thing yourself and not invest with someone like me, or you're not accredited, so you can't invest with someone like me. You might not. It might not be it's obviously not worth it for you to wait until you can go buy 300 units by yourself, because you might be waiting forever and never get started, right? So if you find the right deal that's cash flowing day one, whether it's house hacking, whether it's a 5 unit or a 10 unit or a 24 unit or whatever it might be, go do it. Pull the trigger. Now what I would tell you is, the smaller the deal is, and this is how I look at it too, is I would still bite off a 10 unit now, but I would look at it more as a flip and fit, like fix it up, flip it, right? So if I could go get a right deal right now on a 10 unit, I'd close the deal, I would immediately add the value if it's there to be added, and then I would turn around and try to sell that thing. I'd try to take it from a $500,000 deal to a $1 million deal and try to sell it within 18 months, right? So that's why I would look at it as a flip. So I'd look at it different. So if you're going small, make sure you are cash flowing day one, make sure you have a way to add value. And sometimes adding value is just filling it up. So sometimes you just got to go get it rented. You add the value, now you got an asset that's throwing off rent, and it's going to be worth more. Or you just got to raise the rents. Or sometimes you got to add paint so you can raise the rents. Sometimes you got to do new kitchens and paint. Sometimes you got to do new flooring and paint and kitchens. Sometimes you got to do, so depending what the project is, make sure it's cash flowing, make sure you have a way to add value, and you can't really lose, even if it's a 4 unit, even if it's an 8 unit, right? But just have the mindset of, I'm going to be in this shorter term to try to turn my 20,000 into 100,000, and then do kind of the same thing, right? But when now talking the other side of my mouth again, have the mindset of being in it shorter term, but also be prepared to hold on to it for 10 or 15 years. So what I mean by that is, don't just go buy something because you think you're going to get in and out quick. Because if things change where you have to hold on for 8 years, because if the economy takes a tank or whatever, right? If you have to hold on to it, you got to be prepared to hold on to it. And so whenever I run a deal that I think I'm going to have for a shorter time period, I'm still going to look at it, the deal as well. Hey, what if I have to hold on to this thing for 10 or 15 years? Is it an asset that I'm going to want to have that long? Because if it's not an asset that you want to have that long, don't do it from the beginning. Right, that's my recommendation. So however you got to get started, find a way to get in, flip it, make some cash, move on to your next one. Right, that'd be my mindset. The smaller you go. Now, the 300 unit deals that we do, I wouldn't mind holding on to those things forever. We got an 88 unit right now that I'm looking at. I'm like, man, we might as well hold on to this thing forever and just keep taking care of it and just forever hold on to it. So like the larger deals that I do, they're just like, they're such cash cows. You can refinance. There's so many different things that you can do with them when you have scale, that I truly view them as assets you can hang on to forever. But talking out of the other side of my mouth again, if someone came and offered me the right price today, I probably would recycle it, meaning I'd sell it. If we something that we bought 4 years ago for $6 million, if we could sell it for 11 today, and someone offered that, I might take that 11, pay off the $4 million of debt, take the 7, and go invest in a $35-40 million building, and be in one that once again is cash flow on day one, and I can add value to. Right, so it's kind of rinse and repeat. So always have an open mind, always have the goal of what you want to do, but then also have a plan so that if the worst case happens, you're still going to make it through and you're still going to be good.